kupata muuzaji wa jiko lililoboreshwa aliye karibu nawe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Kawi na Petroli na washirika wenza.
It's 9 p.m. East African. This is Prime Edition, coming to you from Broadcasting House in Nairobi, Kenya. Good evening. I am Mboya. Here are our top stories tonight. Meru residents submit views on Governor Kawira's impeachment motion, even as she moves to court to block debate. A win for Azimio as the National Dialogue Committee adopts cost of living as one of the issues to be discussed. Sellers of Mavoko land, where houses were demolished last week, are presented in court. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Lucy Mora is our sign language interpreter. Now, there was heavy presence of security forces in Meru as the area county assembly commenced an engagement with the public on its bid to kick out Governor Kawira Mwangaza for the second time in a public participation exercise that drew dozens of locals who appeared split on the fate of the governor, who's facing a second impeachment in less than 1 year. Abdiaziz Hashim is the one who opens our coverage tonight with that report.
Political lines have been drawn at the Meru County Assembly as the ward representatives prepare to tackle a contentious motion seeking to impeach Governor Kawira Mwangaza for a second time in less than a year after surviving her first ouster last December. The Assembly called for a public participation exercise for locals in Meru to give their views on the fate of the governor. Monday morning, residents made oral submissions in the exercise that was carried out in 9 sub-counties. The exercise attracting support and condemnation in equal measure.
Kawira must go!
At the Meru showground, the differences degenerated to war of words. The impeachment motion to oust the independent governor was tabled by Majority Leader in the Assembly, Evans Mawera, who cited 7 counts, among them bypassing the Assembly on some appointments, naming a public road after her husband, and failing to honor summons. MCAs will debate the impeachment motion on Wednesday after conclusion of the public participation exercise as required by the law. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Now, members of the National Dialogue Committee have resolved to include the cost of living on the issues being discussed. The dialogue team, co-chaired by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and former Vice President Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, said that the team will meet experts starting next week to deliberate on how best they can agree on the issue. The retreat is expected to culminate into a report or to be presented to the president, as well as the opposition leader by the end of the week.
The National Dialogue Committee met on Monday in Elementaita, Nakuru County, in a bid to draft a final report after reaching a compromise on contentious issues. The committee began deliberations on the submissions made by different stakeholders. The dialogue team, co-chaired by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, noted that the team will be meeting experts next week to discuss the pressing issues on the cost of living.
Beginning early next week, because this very difficult issue of the cost of living is not an issue that we can negotiate on and agree on in one sitting. And we have therefore resolved that beginning next week, we shall be inviting a number of experts to help us to crack the numbers.
We know that Kenyans across the political divide are feeling the heat of gharama ya maisha. And I want to assure Kenyans that we are dealing with it head on.
The Azimio coalition has maintained its push to have the cost of living form part of the talks. In a notice of motion presented by the National Assembly Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, the committee is expected to present its report to President William Ruto and Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga by November 26th.
President William Ruto has held talks with the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Neil Wigan, ahead of King Charles III and Queen Camilla's state visit next week. President Ruto is scheduled to hold bilaterals with the King, focusing on climate action, biodiversity, sustainable urban development, youth matters, technology and innovation, as well as women empowerment during his tour of the country.
Preparations for King Charles III and Queen Camilla's state visit next week are in top gear. Ahead of the planned visit, President William Ruto held a series of meetings with a number of diplomats, including the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Neil Wigan. The head of state is expected to hold bilateral talks with the monarch, centering on the Grand High Force Dam project, the Menengai geothermal project, and the Malindi solar expansion project. Other areas of focus include the Nairobi Railway City project, the United Green investment, and the recruitment of Kenyan nurses to the United Kingdom. The King and President Ruto will also seek to enhance trade volumes between the two countries. The President also met with the Japanese ambassador, Austrian Federal Minister for Labour and Economy Dr. Martin Kocher, and Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, who is also the United Nations Secretary General's Special Advocate for Inclusive Finance for Development.
Now, teachers in 8 primary schools in Baringo South are expressing fears that the state of insecurity in the area could be a big blow to candidates who are preparing for their national examinations. The worry came as one National Police reservist was killed in Kiserian area, creating tension in that volatile area. Here is that report.
It is a state of panic for candidates in 8 primary schools in Baringo South over the deteriorating security situation in the area. Tension has been high in the area following the killing of a KPR at Kiserian High School over the weekend, forcing candidates to flee for cover. The attack forcing parents to withdraw candidates from schools for security concerns.
We want our candidates to be very peaceful. We want our candidates to settle for exams. We don't want our candidates to hear guns.
Teachers from the affected institutions are now appealing to the government for urgent intervention, claiming that bandits could be planning to ambush teachers ferrying the examination materials.
Saa hii tunaenda mitiani, wamejaa barabara. Mitiani hapa tutafanya mitiani namna gani na bunduki nalia?
Oral art exams kicked off Monday with teachers from Nandi calling on TSC to employ more music and foreign language teachers to complement the growing uptake of the lessons being experienced.
So we would encourage, might be in future, the government would come strongly, especially with the CPC, so that they can be able to encourage more students to explore their talents in terms of music.
KCPE exams proper kick off next week. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, the national lands, I'll take that again. Women in Nyeri County have called for the relaxation of new regulations imposed before accessing the Women Enterprise Fund, saying that it has put them at a disadvantage when seeking financial assistance from the fund. Also, residents of Maina village, that's in the outskirts of Nyahururu town, held peaceful demonstrations over the allegations of some individuals trying to take their rightfully owned pieces of land. These and more stories in our county roundup.
Speaking in Salga Shopping Center along the Northern Transport Corridor in Nakuru during a sensitization campaign for the community and motorists, the Kenya Traffic Rescue Mission Technical Director Paul Kabua has called for speedy implementation of the Intelligent Road Transport Management System, installation of speedy cameras along major corridors, black spot mapping and putting up road signs.
And in redesigning of our roads, we are talking about the introduction of roller barriers in all black spot areas, and also introduction of side strips in the same locations, and also the central strips.
In Nyahururu County, residents have held peaceful demonstrations over an alleged land tussle.
Ripoti ya kwamba ilipeanwa na serikali. Na wakati ilipeanwa, nimesikia mkisema kuna watu wanaitisha pesa. Hiyo jambo tutaangalia, serikali itachunguza. Na kama kuna jambo la kusema huko ni rolie ama libali ni free ride, tutajua tu, serikali itatuambia. Kwa hivyo nyinyi ile kitu mtafanya ni mtulie tu, watu waendelee na kazi zao na msiwe na wasiwasi. Serikali haiwezi kaashiria nyinyi.
Meanwhile, women in Nyeri County have called for the relaxation of new regulations imposed on them before accessing the Women Enterprise Fund that has put them at a disadvantage when seeking financial assistance from the fund.
Pesa zinaweza anza juu sio pesa mingi, lakini juu ya hii serikali ni ya bottom up. Tunaweza anza ulishaji wa kuku, unaweza nunua hata ng'ombe.
Ukienda huku mashinani, wamama wengine wajua hata kutumia simu. Na hiyo pesa ya Enterprise Fund, ukiangalia kama hapa Madhera, hapa ndio walikuwa wameongoza. Walikuwa wamekopa, unajua wanaanza na 50, wanaenda 100, walikuwa wamefikisha 1 million. Saa hizi wamerudishwa nyuma, kila mama anaambiwa ashukue 5,000. Sasa hata wananiuliza, mheshimiwa, 5,000 tutafanya nini na hizo pesa?
In other news, the government has been challenged to ensure high school teachers and university lecturers are trained early enough as a way of implementing competence-based curriculum.
What we can advise our society to do and the government to do is to invest in equipping the teachers from up also all the way to the last level.
And Nairobi Women Representative Esther Parsaris has urged parents to be vigilant and observe what's going on with their children to help them identify any mental health issues early. She spoke during the launch of the Beyond Vision Organization mental health program in Tasia, Nairobi County. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
So we need to ensure that the resources for education are...
County's Rap Story brings us to our first break right here on Prime Edition. Coming up, we dive deeper into Monday's coverage. Stay with us.
All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023.
Before the end of the night. Boy, when you are par with weed, a good time is guaranteed. Bones. 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 Skip your enemy there. From left to right, we know the saga mad then.
Pass the baton. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Mungu abariki sana.
Ni wengi wanakushukuru bila hata wewe kufahamu.
Niliona Mungu wa ajabu ameshuka.
Ni wengi wanaokuaminia.
Imejaa, imebaki, yani hamtasabi.
Ni wengi wanaokuombea ushindi.
Hawa ndio niachiwe na mama yao wakati aligojeka kwa muda.
Ni wengi unaowagusa kwa kuwapa afueni na imani ya maisha.
Asante na Mungu akubariki pia.
Ni wengi unawatembelea.
Through hii program ndo tunajua vitu zingine.
Na imani yako inawapa amani.
akaaga juu ya kansa.
Ushindi wako ni wa wengi. Asante mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Come back our socials at KBC Channel 1. 3 Aimi Malukenya Society officials will be remanded at Muthaiga Police Station until Wednesday, the 25th of October 2023, when the court will rule on application by the prosecution asking for the 3 to be detained for 30 days to allow completion of investigations. Now, the trio are allegedly involved in the disputed East African Portland Cement land case in Mavoko, Machakos County, where palatial homes and structures were demolished barely a week ago. Ruth Mboya with details in the Scales of Justice segment.
Monday, the Milimani Lokot and Julius Mutua, Pascal Kiseli and Alex Chalo of the Aimi Maru Kenya appeared before Senior Principal Magistrate Gilbert Shikwe. The state, through a miscellaneous application, won the court to detain the trio for 30 days in order to complete investigations.
I'd just like to do this suit. Your Honor, there's no stay, and the court allows for concurrent civil and criminal proceedings.
However, the defense asked the court to dismiss the application, saying that the suspects are not a flight risk, adding that they are leaders of the society.
Requesting for order of release of the vehicle because it is the only family car that is used by the family. So surely they should hear something.
Similarly, the 3 claim that the matter is pending before the Court of Appeal. The court is set to issue its ruling on Wednesday afternoon. And 3 men involved in a fake gold scam worth 2.6 million will remain in police custody until 26 November 2023.
They went into hiding, and from the month of May up till their arrest, they have been in hiding.
The trio are accused of conspiring to defraud and obtaining money by false pretense.
That is not the case, Your Honor. The first accused person presented himself at the police station.
Elsewhere, fake lawyer Brian Mwendanjagi has finally been released on a 200,000 cash bail and a contact person. In releasing him, Milimani Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina said there was no compelling reasons produced by the prosecution to deny him bail.
This person is granted bond of Kenya shillings 300,000 with one surety of the same amount.
Finally, the Director of Public Prosecution, Renson Mulele Ngonga, has urged members of the public to take advantage of the Legal Awareness Week to benefit from free legal services.
My agenda emphasizes that the role of the 21st century prosecutor goes beyond case processing and conducting trials. It includes analyzing societal issues and implementing crime prevention modalities and solutions through community engagements and participation.
Call on the government to provide the office of the DPP with more resources so that they can be able to hire more prosecutors.
Speaking at Milimani Law Court during the Law Society of Kenya Legal Awareness Week, the DPP urged advocates to work towards decongesting prisons.
As something that has been inculcated to advocates and offering services.
In a move to rekindle the justice system, lawyers and advocates have been asked to give back to the community by offering pro bono services to the less fortunate members of the society. For Prime Edition from Milimani Law Court, I'm Ruth Wambu.
Now, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife will Wednesday begin the construction of a 50 million shillings Masongeleni Ganze electric line in Kibwezi to ward off wild animals that often cross over to the human settlement areas. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua says that the demarcation would put to a stop the loss of lives as well as property for communities that live around the Savo East and also Savo West national parks.
Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua Monday was in Makueni County for a fact-finding mission on human-wildlife conflict in the region. Mutua, accompanied by a section of political leaders and officials from the Kenya Wildlife Service, visited homesteads of victims who lost their lives to human-wildlife conflict before he proceeded to a meeting in Chusiani.
Hapa watu wameuliwa, kuna watu mitungi yao imeharibiwa.
Political leaders present sought solutions to the continued human-wildlife conflict that had caused untold suffering to victims.
Please, every financial year, kuwekwe pesa ilipo watu wetu.
Kuna mama kwa hospitali, na huyo mama ndio anapikianga mzee yake, na ndio anapikianga watoto yake, hata neighbors. Kana ndio huo.
The political leaders want Conservancy's operators be put on notice on negligence and lost lives and property from the menace.
Those people are operating as if there is no law in Kenya. Na hao watu wa KWS wanajua ni kwa nini wana protect hao majamaa. Na yule jamaa amesema kwamba kuna game rangers ambao wananyanyasa watu. Ni ukweli.
Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua says the government has already released part of the funds meant for fencing of the wildlife ecosystems.
Kuna kilomita 65 kutoka Masongeleni mpaka Nganzi. Ni Nganzi kana Nganzi. Nganzi line. Hiyo tuko na ile shilingi 50 million ambayo iko tayari ya kwanza hiyo kazi, na namwambia DG kuja kwa ofisi yangu Wednesday na hiyo document niweke sahihi ufanye procurement chapter.
Mutua also says plans are underway to start a mobile education program to educate the public on wildlife conservation.
Shida ya wanyama kwa wananchi na kuharibia wananchi nchi mimea iko katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Lakini hii compensation inachukua muda mrefu sana. Lazima tuitafutie special account, special monies. Mimi nitakazana ndio tuweze kuwapa watu haki yao.
Research indicates that human-wildlife conflicts are more frequent owing to human population growth, agricultural expansion, infrastructure development, and climate change. Human-wildlife conflict in Ukambani region has led to loss of lives as well as loss of property. Now, it will take the engagement of the communities in the area as well as the area leadership and the national government to see how soon the measures proposed will be implemented to end the human-wildlife menace. Irene Mchuma Udim, Channel 1 in Mtito Andei, County of Makueni.
Now, when the National Rainbow Coalition NAC took over power from KANU, that's in 2003, President Mwai Kibaki would entrust lawyer Ochilo Ayako with a powerful energy ministry, with a brief to spearhead reforms in that sector, energy. However, the 2005 referendum complicated matters for Minister Ayako, who eventually was sacked from the cabinet. Currently, Ayako is the governor of Migori. He graces this week's edition of the cabinet.
Dr. Ochilo Ayako was born on 10th of September 1968 and brought up in the present-day Migori County. He joined Homabay Secondary School for his O-levels, and after his advanced levels at Alliance High School, he joined the University of Nairobi to study law. In the run-up to the 1997 general election, Ayako was among the new faces in the National Development Party (NDP) that was led by Raila Odinga, who had reactivated the party after breaking away from Ford Kenya. He vied for the Rongo parliamentary seat as a fresh law graduate, defeating the then flamboyant, eloquent and wealthy KANU politician and cabinet minister Dalmas Otieno. NDP would become the most dominant party in Luo Nyanza from 1997 to 2002. With this win, Ayako became one of Raila Odinga's most trusted political lieutenants in the Nyanza region. In 1998, he was among the NDP MPs who voted against a no-confidence motion sponsored by James Orengo that had been moved against the then-President Daniel Arap Moi. Following this, Ayako was part of a select team that was tasked with conducting parliamentary reforms whose objective was to fight for the autonomy of Parliament. It was this team that helped establish the Parliamentary Service Commission and introduce the provision of offices for all MPs. In the 2002 general election, Ochilo was re-elected to Parliament on a NAC ticket and thereafter appointed Minister for Energy in the Kibaki government. His assistant minister was Mwangi Kiunjuri. He served a short stint in the ministry from 2003 to 2004, and in this time he was credited with bringing widespread reforms in the sector, some of which led to international donors and the World Bank restoring their support through the Energy Sector Recovery Project. Ayako was also credited with strengthening the operations of Kenya Electricity Generating Company KENGEN after its detachment from Kenya Power Company. He also spearheaded the phasing out of leaded petrol in the country. Despite orchestrating several reforms in the ministry, on 30th June 2004, President Kibaki executed his first major government reshuffle, and Ford People leader Simeon Nyachai was appointed the new Minister for Energy. Ayako was transferred to the less powerful Ministry of Sports, Gender and Culture, where he would last only 1 year before being fired from the cabinet for not supporting the government in the 2005 referendum. In the 1 year at the Sports Ministry, Ayako introduced the sports policy that culminated in the Sports Act and the Gender Policy Act that led to the establishment of the Gender Commission. He was also involved in the successful bid to have the 2011 World Athletics Championships held in Kenya. The 2005 referendum ended his cabinet career after President Kibaki sacked all the ministers who opposed the government-backed draft constitution. In 2007 general election, Ayako lost the Rongo parliamentary seat to his old rival Dalmas Otieno. After the elections, the Kenya-South Sudan Liaison Office seconded Ayako to South Sudan as a legal advisor to President Salva Kiir on legislative and constitutional matters. In the coalition government, Ayako was appointed executive chairman and CEO of the Kenya Nuclear Electricity Board, where he served until 2013. Ayako made a return to elective politics in 2017 when he unsuccessfully vied for the Migori governorship against incumbent Okoth Obado. In 2018, Ayako won in a by-election triggered by the death of Migori Senator Ben Oluoch. In the 2022 general election, Ayako successfully vied for Migori governorship, becoming the governor of Migori County. For the cabinet, I'm Ben Troenjue.
All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023.
Before the end of the night. Boy, when you are par with we, a good time is guaranteed.
Bones. 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 Ha! Skip your enemy there. Sing your one from left to right, we know this I go mad then.
Pass the baton. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Mungu abariki sana.
Ni wengi wanakushukuru bila hata wewe kufahamu.
Niliona Mungu wa ajabu ameshuka.
Ni wengi wanaokuaminia.
Imejaa, imebaki, yani hamtasabi.
Ni wengi wanaokuombea ushindi.
Hawa ndio niachiwe na mama yao wakati aligojeka kwa muda.
Ni wengi unaowagusa kwa kuwapa afueni na imani ya maisha.
Asante na Mungu akubariki pia.
Ni wengi unawatembelea.
Through hii program ndo tunajua vitu zingine.
Na imani yako inawapa amani.
Akaaga juu ya kansa.
Ushindi wako ni wa wengi.
Roma niendanga, Roma
Asante mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Welcome back. Now, the Orange Democratic Movement Party has vowed to crack the whip on rebel members who are disloyal to the party. Speaking in Kisii town, branch officials called for strict observance of the highest standards of fidelity to the party. Elsewhere, the United Democratic Alliance Party is set to hold a crisis meeting Thursday to resolve the leadership wrangles at the Nairobi County Assembly. Timothy Kipnusu with stories making headlines in politics.
It will not be business as usual for rebel members in the Orange Democratic Movement Party. This is after the branch officials read a riot act to members who are disloyal to the party.
Those members who are elected in Azimia and ODM tickets but have taken their own courses, the party hereby condemns their deeds which are against the party ideologies. Stern action, including disciplinary measures, will be weighed in.
They singled out some ward representatives who they say have displayed conduct that points to divided loyalty, saying they will be called out and disciplined accordingly.
Chama yetu ya ODM ndio iliwaweka ofisini. Kwa hivyo lazima na sharti mfuate masharti ya chama yetu ya ODM, kama si hivyo mtapwa nje. ODM.
At the same time, they revealed that there is perpetuation of conflict of interest by some MCAs in the county assembly, where they allegedly crafted laws, awarded contracts and paid themselves.
Amwezi mkawa watu ambao munatunga sheria, alafu munakuwa contractors, alafu munajiripa, ndiposa munachukua mahitaji ya watu wa Kisii.
They petitioned the EACC to move in and investigate with a view to holding them accountable. Elsewhere, the United Democratic Alliance Party is set to hold a crisis meeting on Thursday to resolve the leadership wrangles at the Nairobi County Assembly. Speaking at the UDA headquarters, the party Secretary General Cleophas Malala revealed that he had received a complaint from a faction of the UDA MCAs who claimed that the embattled leadership led by Minority Leader Anthony Kiragu and Minority Whip Mark Mugambi wanted to oust them.
We are trying to use the mechanisms within the party. We have a dispute and resolution committee, which if we are unable to sort out the problem as a secretariat, we will be able to take them through the relevant mechanisms and the relevant institutions within our party to ensure that we sort out the problems.
Some of my competitors know that the members of the party have decided it is me. They fear and they are out to use unorthodox methods to get me out of this.
They are just thumping that once they are done with us, they will start the process of impeaching the governor. None of us will append his or her signature to ouster the governor.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Mungu awabariki sana.
Ni wengi wanakushukuru bila hata wewe kufahamu.
Niliona Mungu wa ajabu ameshuka.
Ni wengi wanaokuaminia.
Imejaa, imebaki, yani hamtasabi.
Ni wengi wanaokuombea ushindi.
Hawa ndio niachiwe na mama yao wakati aligojeka kwa muda.
Ni wengi unaowagusa kwa kuwapa afueni na imani ya maisha.
Asante na Mungu akubariki pia.
Ni wengi unawatembelea.
Through hii program ndo tunajua vitu zingine.
Na imani yako inawapa amani.
Akaaga juu ya kansa.
Ushindi wako ni wa wengi.
Roma niendanga, Roma.
Asante mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Move over to have a look at the day's business.
Thank you, Tom. Of course, it's time to make sense of the numbers in the business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. The government has kicked off the process of reviving the Kenya National Shipping Line in a bid to lower the state shipping cost. Under the plan, the government, through the National Assembly, will amend Section 16 of the Merchant Shipping Act of 2009, which prohibits a shipping line from operating a port terminal. Maritime Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says the government will also work with international shipping agencies to turn around the moribund shipping line.
Since 2018, the government has been keen to revive the Kenya National Shipping Line as the state seeks to cut a ballooning shipping bill estimated to be close to 5 billion shillings annually. 3 years ago, a plan to create a partnership between the Kenya National Shipping Line and the Italian shipping giant Mediterranean Shipping Company was shelved after various stakeholders opposed the idea. The two entities were supposed to manage the second container terminal at the port of Mombasa.
So let's start with the order.
Maritime Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says the Kenya National Shipping Line will help regulate market prices that had previously been left to private players.
Previously, that kind of monopoly has seen a lot of charges, exorbitant, and therefore that kind of market regulation will create a good balance and also have an inclusive participation.
Mvurya further says the government has held various engagements with local and international shipping agencies in a bid to absorb more seafarers.
I have directed BMA management to relook at the charges. These charges should be affordable. We have mobilized the members of parliament and governors to participate in this process to enable, the young people in the region to access this training.
In April, the cabinet approved a proposal to have the shipping line handle all government imports and exports. Mvurya is hopeful the construction of a 1.5 billion shillings maritime and logistics center in Kwale County, as well as the domestication of the AMA headquarters in Mombasa, will pull global players and accelerate investment in the industry.
That is one of the critical reasons that we even want to host the regional cabotage conference, so that we can open Kenya as a hub of engagement and inspiration in the shipping and maritime sector.
The county government of Mombasa is going to be a co-sponsor and a vital, extremely vital enhancer of the upcoming cabotage conference, and I'm hoping as well that this is going to expand to the other small ports, not just within Kenya alone, but within the region.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
Now, realign and upscale your curriculum to meet the current and future industrial needs. This is the clarion call by Industrial Principal Secretary Dr. Juma Mukwana to technical vocational education training institutions and polytechnics across the country. Dr. Mukwana says that TVETs and polytechnics to step up research and innovation to build capacity of Kenyans as the country industrializes.
The government has identified technical vocational education training institutions and polytechnics as being key in the country's industrialization journey.
Because TVET is life. Everything from the chair, from the table you are looking at, the coat I'm wearing, the window, the painting, the building, the floor, is all TVET, isn't it? So why are we looking for things, complicated things?
And as such, 28.3 billion shillings has been allocated to TVET institutions in the current budget to, among others, build the needed technical skills.
That part of our industrial revolution will be done by the TVET. If you go to a place like Germany, you will be surprised that 70% of the people every year go to TVET.
Dr. Mukwana is challenging technical institutions to work with other stakeholders in commercializing valuable innovations and research. The new funding model in TVET institutions is expected to foster equity and access to the TVET courses by all learners. Dr. Mkwana says the government is establishing a fund to provide startup capital to small-scale traders and youth under the program dubbed Viwanda Mashinani.
Need to do short courses, practical courses. We want this place to be vibrant, to mentor the people that want to do manufacturing.
Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, how does the fuel powering your gadgets and machines reach you? Well, our reporter Trevor Ngendo followed the petroleum products pipeline transportation network covering 1,342 kilometers from Mombasa through Nairobi, Nakuru and Eldoret to Kisumu and filed the following report.
It takes a sophisticated infrastructure and several key steps to receive fuel from vessels. The process begins with the arrival of a vessel carrying fuel products at the new Kipevu Oil Terminal, an offshore facility capable of accommodating 3 ships concurrently. With a total capacity of 4,500 cubic meters, it takes at least 30 hours to unload a single vessel, utilizing specialized equipment and pipelines for the smooth transfer of the fuel to large capacity tanks designed to hold up to 326 million liters of super petrol, diesel and jet fuel, with a dedicated channel to Moi International Airport, boasting a 7 million litre storage capacity. Before initiating the transportation process, rigorous quality control checks are done to ensure the fuel meets local standards. The process of oil transportation begins here at pump station number 1 with this line 5 carrying 3 products, that is petrol, diesel and kerosene, going underground for 450 kilometers to Nairobi under high pressure. It takes an average of 4 days for the products to arrive in Nairobi at a capacity of 86 million liters of oils. Diesel, also known as AGO, is loaded first, followed by DPK containing Jet A1 and kerosene components, followed by diesel as a buffer, before MSP, also known as super petrol, is loaded onto a single 20-inch pipe operating under high pressure to prevent mixing and facilitate the efficient and rapid transfer of large volumes of fuel over the 450-kilometer distance between Mombasa and Nairobi. Through the transportation process, several pump stations, each with 2 remotely controlled parallel pumps, boost the pressure. The pipeline is monitored using technology capable of detecting any deviations and anomalies in the flow pressure for prompt action. In Nairobi, Jet A1 is directed to JKI loading depot to serve the airport and Wilson Airport. When the fuel is pumped to Nairobi, it is directed to these storage facilities, which is then piped to the Nakuru loading depot. Here, oil marketers load their trucks and distribute to local and regional markets. The line continues until Sinindet, where the distribution line branches into 2, with Line 2 spanning 325 kilometers to Eldoret and Line 3 spanning 121 kilometers to Kisumu, culminating the 1,342-kilometer-long pipeline. And from Mombasa to Kisumu, this now serves as the endpoint distribution hub for the Kenya Pipeline Company, where, unlike in Mombasa, where it's offloaded from vessels, here it's loaded onto a vessel once a week with a carrying capacity of 4.5 million liters, which is equivalent to 150 trucks on the road, with the destination being Uganda to go and serve the rest of the region. Trevor Ngendo for KBC Channel 1 in Kisumu County.
Thank you, Trevor, for that report. Now, when you think about artificial intelligence, will chatbots make lawyers obsolete? That is the question the industry is facing as artificial intelligence moves to democratize the profession. Wakili AI is the latest entrant to this crowded field. Developed by a Kenyan legal and information expert, the chatbot seeks to help Kenyans with answers to legal questions. Alan Auko breaks down the Wakili chatbox.
1 in 10 Kenyans pursue judicial systems to get justice. This is according to a survey by the judiciary. Kenyans say their inability to get justice in court is because they cannot afford legal fees for a lawyer, don't understand the legal process and procedures, and delays in resolving cases. Naftali Oboni's family encountered similar difficulties when his father was unexpectedly terminated from his job. The IT practitioner developed an artificial intelligence tool called Wakili, meaning lawyer, which is designed to help Kenyans pursue justice by providing information on legal matters and guiding them on how to access the legal system.
Wakili.org is basically a bot. It's a chat bot. This is where you can go if you have any issues. It might even not be directly law related, but it might be related to things that you face in society, and you want to know what is your course of action and you need guidance. It understands all laws in Kenya, meaning whether it's customary, whether it is civil, criminal, whether it is property, land, all those laws, it already understands them. And it doesn't list you the laws, it interprets for you.
Launched just in October 2023, more than 2,800 people have engaged with the Wakili AI tool, seeking guidance on property ownership procedures, gender-based violence cases, inquiries, and contract drafting for employers. James Muindi, a software developer, is one of the many users benefiting from Wakili. He is using AI to draft client agreements, which is more cost-effective than hiring legal services.
This has kind of helped us now formalize all our agreements with our clients, so that now, before we begin any software development project for a client, we're able to have a draft contract, a draft non-disclosure agreement agreed, and they feel at ease as a client because they know now the process is formal, and on our end it has also now reduced the costs.
Some lawyers have voiced concerns that incorporating AI into the profession, much like in other fields, may lead to reduced income and a drop in the number of people seeking their services.
Research consumes most of lawyers' time, because research is based on what cases you're handling and what particular area of the law. This narrows it down. Once you ask that question, it narrows it down. You don't have to start Broadway and then narrow down. It narrows it down for you.
The developers aim to incorporate a voice recognition system into the program to make it accessible to millions of Kenyans. The additional system will enable those who don't understand English or Swahili seek the legal information in their native languages.
And that's all we had for you from the business desk this evening. Of course, Bernard Okumu is coming up with the latest in sports. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
The inaugural African Football League, showcasing the best of African club football, kicks off on October 20th. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1 as Africa's best footballing talents compete in the inaugural league between 20th of October to 11th of November. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Yes, indeed, and a very good evening and welcome to Channel 1 Sports this lovely Monday evening. I'm Bernard Okumu, and let's begin with the local sports, where Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba says the government will continue to forge close partnerships with county governments to improve the state of sports facilities in the country. These cooperations, Ababu says, will ensure that the ministry achieves its goal to develop as well as upgrade the status of various sporting facilities in the country.
Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba was today in Marsabit inspecting the Marsabit Stadium. The inspection of the stadium in Marsabit County came just days after yet another inspection of the Moi Stadium in Kisumu.
We say you get what you inspect, not what you invest. If you invest and you do not inspect, you're very likely to get substandard results.
While on the inspection, Cabinet Secretary Ababu said the government will continue to work with the county government to improve the state of sports facilities in Kenya.
Stadium hii ya Marsabit, ama uga huu wa Marsabit, ni mojawapo wa viwanja 7 ambavyo vilianzishwa na vikakwama bila kukamilishwa sehemu mbalimbali za taifa letu. When we came to office as a new administration with a fresh agenda for Kenya, a good vision for this country, we made a quick decision that we don't want to continue the habit of starting things and not finishing them. Tunaanzisha kitu kinanyonya mali ya umma alafu hakikamiliki. We said we must end that.
CS Ababu assured that upgrading works will commence immediately and the renovations will be done in 2 phases, with the first phase being the completion of terraces, improvement of the playing turf, completion of a car park, as well as the rehabilitation of the VIP pavilion.
This very, very important project, which has been started and co-funded by both the national government and the county government, needs to be completed. And because of the visionary leadership of this government, you found it fit to come and assess it yourself firsthand. This, we are indeed very, very grateful.
The second phase of the renovation will include the laying of canopy all round the stadium and installation of seats. Buckley Feather, Prime Edition Sports.
And to the inaugural African Football League, where first half goal from a teenage sensation, Sheikh Omar Fofana and TP Mazembe had fought 1-0 win over Tunisian side Esperance in their Africa Football League quarter-final first leg match played at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in Tanzania.
The 19-year-old striker put Mazembe in front just 11 minutes to give the DRC club a slender advantage. Mazembe controlled the early exchanges before Fofana connected powerfully with Felipe Kinzumbi's pinpoint delivery to score what proved the winner. Esperance almost leveled soon after when Osama Bogera was denied by a reflex save from Mazembe keeper Baggio Siadi. Kinzumbi went close to doubling Mazembe's lead early in the second half, but his fierce volley was tipped over by Amanala Memiche. Mazembe held on to secure a vital away goal and advantage ahead of the second leg in Tunisia this Wednesday. The 5-time African champions edged a typically tight affair between 2 of the continent's most decorated clubs. But with the tie delicately balanced, the Central Africans know they will face a stormy reception when they attempt to finish the job on Esperance's home patch.
And to the greens now, where the Hilly Sigona Golf saw 6 playoffs determine the winners of the different age grades of the Junior Golf Foundation US Kids Spring Local Tour. Aidan Gashora won the boys under 12 category following a 2-hole playoff against Amar Shah after both players were tied on 78 gross. Now in the boys 11, Jeff Kivi defeated Shuhan Peng after one playoff, having tied on 79 after 18 holes. The boys 9-year-old category also went to a playoff that was won by Ishan Patel after he was tied on 38 with Jerome Ngugi. The girls under 8 and under category was also decided via playoff, with Irene Asio emerging the winner ahead of Lynette Zawadi. It was the same case in the girls 9 to 10 years category, where Ashley Gashora beat Anna Mengi in the first playoff hole, having tied on 40 after 9 holes. Hazel Kuria also won the girls 15 to 18 years category via playoff and tying on 93 gross with Cherise Washira.
Not easy, but I tried my best and I made the putt. The person I was going against is my close friend, and it was kind of hard watching him lose.
Last tournament, both lines were quite simple. It was just like last time I had an 8 last tournament, but this night this course is much harder, much more difficult. Okay. I actually missed a 4-foot putt for par on the first hole to just take it on the first hole. So yeah, the pressure really did get to me.
And to volleyball now, where national women's volleyball team head coach Paul Bitok has urged volleyball teams to register for the second edition of the Eldoret City and the Heroes Volleyball Tournament set for Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties respectively. The Heroes Community Tournament is set for Mosoriot in Nandi County from 2nd to 5th of next month at Koitalel Samoei University grounds, while the Eldoret City Volleyball Tournament will be played between the 8th and 9th of December at the Eldoret Sports Club. Now, 24 teams are expected to grace the event at Eldoret Sports Club. Kenya Pipeline won the ladies category of the inaugural Eldoret City Volleyball after edging arch rivals Kenya Prisons by 3-1, while Kenya Defence Forces carried the men's title after beating Kenya Prisons 3-1. Well, and on that note of the forthcoming Eldoret City Volleyball Tournament organized by the national team head coach Paul Bitok is how we bring the curtains down on today's edition of Sports on the Prime Edition this lovely Monday. That's what we have. You're now in the know. I'm Bernard Okumo. Thank you so much for watching.
Many thanks indeed, Coach, for that update. Well, we also have to go from here. I want to thank you on behalf of the backend team, the Prime Edition team. Tomorrow is another day. We will be back again. Good night. My name is Mboya, and God bless.
Small and medium enterprises play a key role in job creation, thus putting food on the table for millions of Kenyans.
Hii biashara yangu dogo kwangu inanisaidia kulipia watoto fee. Kwa nyumba niko na nyumba ya kucondition, naweza kulipa hata hii rent nalipa, na pia inanisaidia kwa mahitaji ya nyumba na hata chakula. Biashara ndogo unaweza anza na tu pesa kidogo, na biashara ndogo unaweza fanyia hata pahali pandogo pahali huko. Sio necessary utoke pahali huko uende ukakondise duka nje. Unaweza tengeneza kakibanda kidogo hapo nje ya nyumba yako, ufanye hiyo biashara na isaidie familia yako.
To support the growth of such SMEs in the country, the government rolled out Hustler Fund for groups.
To promote inclusion, the Hustler Fund is going to deploy groups such as chamas and SACCOs, overcome exclusion and barriers to participate in credit savings, social security, health insurance, and other socio-economic amenities.
SMEs embrace this plan wholeheartedly.
Wakati Mheshimiwa Rais alitangaza about Hustler Fund, mimi nilifurahi sana kwa sababu niko kwa vikundi mingi na nikajua hapo ndio nitaweza kujiinua kwa biashara yangu, sababu kwa biashara yangu kalikuwa kadogo na sikuwa na uwezo wa kuchukua loan kwa mabanks.
Tulifurahia na tukasema ni kweli ametufikiria sisi kama wanabodaboda, na tukaona hiyo inafaa juu atatupea progress, atatupea pesa ya kuendelea, atatukopesha pesa ya kujiinua, na tuliona inasaidia sana sisi watu wa bodaboda na nchi wa chini.
Group members have been investing the money to grow their businesses.
Wanachama wale tuko nao 10, tuko na biashara tofauti. Sasa kama hapa ni General Soap na imekuwa combine na M-Pesa, tuko na mwingine ako na duka ya spare, na kuna spare nyingine, na kuna mtu hata ako na hoteli. General Soap ndizo members wetu wako nazo mingi. Tunaenda the 40 time na tutaendelea kuchukua. Letu tu ni kuomba iongezewe kidogo.
Sisi wote ni watu wa vibanda, so tulishikana kila mtu tukasema tukipewa 30,000 tutaanza chini, pesa yenye tunaweza lipa haraka, so tukagawana among ourselves. Mimi ilinisaidia kwa sababu biashara yangu iko imerudi chini kabisa na nina deal na students, so ilinisaidia kurudisha snacks, drinks, zile vitu wanahitaji kwa haraka, ndio nikiwauzia naweza kulipa hiyo Hustler Fund na haraka na narudisha tena biashara.
So far, 159.7 million shillings has been disbursed to various groups. Groups can get between 20,000 shillings to 1 million shillings.
Sisi tulipoona tunapewa limiti ya 27,000, tuliona ni vizuri tuweke buzi wanne, sababu unapoangalia ukulima wa buzi si costly. Buzi unafaa kuwatafutia majani na saa zingine hata unaweza watoa nje na wapate chakula. Na pia after miezi 3 unapata huyo buzi amekupea buzi mwingine. Na unapata hiyo maziwa ya buzi bado ni costly ama iko na pesa mzuri.
Limit yetu ilikuwa ya 30,000 na ndizo tulichukua za group. Tukagawanya individually sababu kila mtu ako na biashara tofauti. Yangu nikaweka kwa biashara yangu, nikaweza kununua brand inisaidie kwa biashara yangu. Na hata nimeweza kuajiri msichana wa kazi na ninaona anasaidika kutoka hapa.
Hustler Fund inatusaidia sana kwa sababu kama sasa ukiwa umefinyirika na shilingi 10,000 kama 10 hivi, mnaweza ongea na majamaa wa kikundi wakope, kila mtu zake zenye alikuwa akope yeye akatae kuchukua wakupatie na zitakusaidia.
What makes Hustler Fund so attractive to SMEs?
Hustler Fund ya group unahitaji tu kukua kwa kikundi, na kama hamna kikundi mnaenda mnaform group ya watu kama 10. Let's say mnaweza anza na watu 10. Mnaenda tu mnakusanya watu wenye mnaeleanwa, mnakusanya watu 10, mna register kwa vikundi. Hii kikundi si lazima muwe mmeinvest so much in it, si lazima muwe na pesa, ni ile tu mtaform kikundi na muanze kupewa pesa immediately. Hakuna savings mnaitishwa.
Umuhimu wa Hustler Fund ni kuwa interest yake iko chini na ikimbizi mtu kulipa, inakupea duration. So ukifanya biashara unaweza lipa polepole. Ni rahisi sana, kwanza sisi tulichukua tukiwa pamoja, so haikuanga hata na stress. Haiku to take more than 10 minutes.
Ningeenda bank, niende nikope pesa, alafu niitishwe ngalantas, niitishwe ule mtu anaweza ni witness. But kwa Hustler Fund, naingianga kwa simu direct, nachukua pesa na napatiwa ile duration ya kulipa na exactly nalipa on that time. Ndio nisipigwe penalty.
More people are still registering in groups in order to leverage on the group funding.
Mimi ni artist, nafanya kuchora art kutumia misumari na uzi. Mimi nimebenefit na Hustler Fund individual loan, of which the first loan nilichukua ninunua board. Yeah, so from there nimeweza kuwa nikimprove. Tuko na group tunaunda friends na people who are like-minded in business. Yeah, so but tuna expect tukishaji from our group to register, then we can follow up on how to get a Hustler Fund ya group.
Borrowers are called upon to pay back what they borrow, to not just get more, but also give others a chance.
Ile ingine ya muhimu ni kulipa. Usipewe pesa ya hasara useme ni pesa ya serikali utalipa. Hiyo sasa itaharibu CV hata ya kikundi. Kwa hivyo sisi bila tumeongea kama kikundi ya wendo. Ukipewa pesa, ile siku tumesema ndio inalipwa. Asubuhi na mapema. Pesa ikue hapo.
Unakuta mtu atachukua pesa hata hajui ni ya nini. Anaenda natumia na mahitaji mengine unnecessary. Ile kitu tunaomba ni tupewe hiyo option ya kuremove member, sisi officials. Juu ukipata member fulani amekufero, yeye amefanya kukwamisha mambo yako, juu ako na pesa ya chama. We can remove that person na tuweke another person who is willing to continue.
Sasa wewe kama ulihepa na ile 500, hii 1,000,000 utapata namna gani? Ama ulihepa na 1,000, wajida ni mingi, lakini sasa utajipanga, si ndio? Sasa wewe hata kama wewe ni mimi, unaweza nikupatie 1 million na umehepa na 500. Si lazima ujipange ulipe hiyo 500 ndio upate hii 1,000,000.
Beba. Ujisqueeze hapo watano kusqueeze. Hapana. Maybe excess. Nini wewe shughulika na steering, mimi niko huku nyuma na watu. Tunavuja sheria bwana, tutashikwa na makarao. Mimi sitaki noma na polisi. Si overdo na ku risk life yao wase. Hapana. Anyewe for once umebonga sense. Leo umebonga kama dere smart. Anyway, nimekusikia bazi. Oya, excess. Oya, shuka, baby excess. Oya, baby excess. Watu wafunga mshipi Oya, Kadere, uende sasa. Na uende pole uchunga watu wa nduthi na watu wa miguu. Na hiyo simu weka chini wewe. Sawa? Kaende sana.
Usalama barabarani ni jukumu letu sote. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa